Do you feel like the world is falling apart? Well, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, what has he done for me lately? And I get it. It seems like we're living through some really tough times. But we have a choice. Question God's plan or trust him and start building. In the beginning of the story, Noah was actually 600 years old when God gave him these instructions. Imagine that, and Noah didn't hesitate to build it. God might have big plans for you too. Don't be afraid to dream big and follow his lead. Notice that before God told Noah to build the ark, he told him, "You have found favor in my eyes." Listen, God told Noah to make the ark big enough for his family, for all the animals, and for all the food they would need for 40 days and 40 nights. He wanted him to be prepared. And you know what? It's good to be prepared, to have a little extra, because you never know when you're going to need it. Why? Because Noah was a righteous man, blameless among the people of his time, and he walked faithfully with God. Simply put, Noah followed God's laws and tried to live according to his will. In a world full of sin and corruption, Noah stood out because he chose to follow God. Noah was ready for the flood, and that's why he and his family and all the animals survived. But the story of Noah shows us that God is both just and merciful. But the story of Noah reminds us to stay calm and keep building. Let's trust in God's promises and let's walk faithfully with him, no matter what happens. Because even when the world feels like it's falling apart, God still sits on the throne, and he has a plan for us. A plan to bring beauty out of brokenness, a plan to bring hope out of despair, a plan to bring peace out of chaos. God still builds arks, and he's waiting for us to step into the boat and trust him. Are you ready to take that step today? He sees what's happening, and he's working everything out for our good. Your gift will help us continue to share these messages of faith and hope with people all around the world. Together, we can make a difference. What has God taught you recently? Share your thoughts below, and remember, God is with you. Also, don't forget to share this with your friends so we can reach more people with the message of God's love and grace. The world today feels like it's drowning in chaos, but it's not the first time. We'd love to hear from you. Stay blessed. He loves you and he has a plan for you. Thank you for your generosity and your passion for our ministry. There's war and division and climate disasters and fear. In the days of Noah, people also ignored the warnings, the cries of an impending doom, until the flood actually arrived. But one man's obedience and faith saved a future. So today I want us to look at the story of Noah and think about what it means for us in our own lives and how we can walk in faith when the world around us is spinning out of control. It's a story about hope, about God's faithfulness and his promises, no matter what happens. It's a reminder that God is in control, that he cares for us, and that he'll never leave us or forsake us. He judges sin, but he is also willing to forgive and show mercy to those who repent and turn away from their wicked ways. We should be ready for whatever comes our way, whether that's a financial emergency or health problems or anything else life throws at us. It's good to be prepared. God is faithful to his promises, and this promise gives us hope in the midst of any storm we may face. God is with us. He's in control, and he'll never leave us or forsake us. God doesn't call the most qualified people. He calls ordinary people like you and me, and He gives us the strength and ability to do what He calls us to do. He was a regular guy, but God chose him for an extraordinary task, and He can do the same for us. Noah wasn't a superhero. He sent Noah the warning so that people could repent and change their ways. But this isn't the first time. In fact, after the flood, God promised never to destroy the earth again in the same way. The world today feels like it's drowning in promising that as long as the earth stands, seed time and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, day and night will not cease. He made a covenant with Noah and all living creatures. This means that God keeps His promises. He's reliable and trustworthy. Here he was at an age where most people were slowing down and retiring, and God was telling him to build a boat. It must have seemed crazy, but Noah didn't let his age stop him. Instead, he listened to God and took action. There's war and division and climate disasters and fear. Let's face it, the world can be a pretty sinful place. People lie and cheat and steal and hurt each other, but God hates sin, and He judges sin. And that's what the flood represents in this story. It's God's judgment on a sinful world. He's in control of the weather, the economy, the future. Nothing takes Him by surprise, and He's given us the Bible to help guide us through these difficult times. In the days of Noah, people also ignored the warnings, the cries of an impending doom, until the flood actually arrived. But one man's obedience and faith saved a future. I want us to look at the story of Noah and think about what it means for us in our own lives, and how we can walk in faith when the world around us is spinning out of control. I grew up hearing this story of Noah and his ark and always wondered why he had to build such a huge boat. I mean, the thing was massive. And then it hit me. He didn't have to build the ark. God did. In fact, God told him exactly how to build it. No. 1. When God says do it, don't ask why. Noah could have asked a lot of questions, but he didn't. He just started building. That's faith. If God tells you to do something that seems impossible or crazy, don't try to understand why. Just trust Him and obey. He said, "Make yourself an ark of gopher wood. Make rooms in the ark for yourself, your family." Look, the ark was massive. It was like a floating city, and all the animals that are to go into it with you. God explained everything to Noah, but I don't think Noah really understood why he needed to do this. I mean, building a giant boat in the middle of dry land is kind of weird, so he probably had a lot of questions. But instead of complaining or asking why, he just started building because he trusted God. In the same way, sometimes God asks us to do things that seem impossible. Dreams that are too big or steps that we're afraid to take. So here's what I want us to remember from Noah's story. 2. Don't be afraid to dream big. 3. God doesn't call the qualified. He qualifies the called. 4. It's better to have and not need than to need and not have. God reminded Noah that he had found favor in his eyes. Here's the bottom line. God is still in control. Now, the story of Noah reminds us that God is just, that He hates sin, and that He judges sin. At the same time, the story of Noah also reminds us that God is merciful, that He's slow to anger, and that He doesn't want anyone to perish. But there's more. Some people might say that God's judgment is unfair or that He doesn't care about us. If you enjoyed it, please give us a like and subscribe for more inspiring content. Let me tell you, The world can be a scary place sometimes. It feels like the foundations are shaking and the walls are crumbling down. As followers of Jesus, we can be confident that no matter how dark it gets, God still sits on the throne. Look, the world today feels like it's falling apart. God made a promise to Noah, a rainbow after the storm, a symbol of God's covenant and promise that he would never again destroy the earth by flood. My friends, let's hold on to that hope. If you've been inspired by this message and want to support our ministry, please consider making a donation. Thank you for joining us for this message.